Okay. So again, let's then now fast forward to 1981. So you're this accomplished fighter jet pilot. 1981, or is it 1982?
82.
82 was a huge turning point, especially because of the Air Force.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened. Explain to people about that time. Imagine the people who would have no idea what happened then.
Yeah, 1982 August. Well, let's go back to the last week of July. 2 weeks actually. There was a military exercise where we act as in a war. And what happens is you have this brigade fighting this brigade, and then you have the Air Force. You are the enemy now. You have the Air Force now supporting now the friendly bit. Where I was in Wajir. So you're out there in the bush, now the tanks are rolling, you're there, and the air ground guys would control when the F5s come, say there's a target, 90 degrees left, 50 miles or whatever it is, using binoculars, or 10 miles. I was selected to be the air liaison officer for that exercise. Again, luck. So I was there as the air liaison officer, means I'm talking to the jets as they come, and I'm giving them target instructions. So they would come and act, come, woo, and say they have destroyed or whatever. And I'll be guiding them and saying whether you missed target, you're left of target, or because we'd have the dummy things there, and they were meant to come and zoom past. So that's what I was doing. And I was there with, of course, you are with the Army. I'm the only Air Force guy there, or 2 or 3 of us. But I'm with the Army now, the Army who are fighting the enemy. Fighting the enemy.
Yes.
So we got back on the end of July 31st, the night before the coup. The coup was August 1. Flew back by helicopter to Nanyuki, and again, luck. When I got to base, we were tired, dusty, and I needed to return. You're given a weapon. I had my pistol. I needed to return the pistol. And with me was another friend of mine who we had also, he was on the other brigade as the air liaison officer for them. So we had flown back together. He lived at the base. I lived in the hotel. So we waited for the armory to open. He got fed up, said, I'll return this tomorrow. It was a Saturday. He said, I'll return it on Monday. I somehow waited until I returned the weapon, and thank God for that. Because when the coup happened, I would have been home with a gun. Now, my friend, just to sidetrack, simply because he had the gun, during the questioning, one of the things that was coming up, what were you doing with a gun? And he was saying, I had this in the bush, so why didn't you return it? The armory guy was not there. They could not, and then unfortunately he was from that tribe that majority had done the coup. So he had all kinds of things going against him. Anyway, that's just a sidetrack. So I give back the gun, go home.
What made you give back the gun despite the fact that the car wasn't opening?
We only carry guns when we are in the bush. Or during wartime, if you're going to war as a pilot in a fighter jet, you'd carry a gun which you'd put in your thing here. The reason being, should you be captured by the enemy, you have something to protect yourself. Should you eject, then you always carry a gun. But in day-to-day military, we don't carry guns, But we had a gun because now we are doing a war exercise, so everybody has a pistol.
So that's why you returned it. You're just like, no, I'm not carrying this thing to civilian as a civilian.
Yeah, you don't carry.
So then now what happens? So this is 31st.
Go home. So I'm with Gina. I go home, fast asleep, and she gets a call at 5 a.m. From a friend of ours, the wife of another pilot. Is CB there? I said, yeah, he's asleep. And she says that Dave was picked at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. I said, why? I said, there's been a coup. I said, what do you mean a coup? So Gina woke me up and I got up and we're trying to figure out what's happening. Nobody quite knows. Then at about 6, just when daylight was coming, I heard the F5 zooming off. They came to Nairobi, 2 of them. Because they came and what the Coup guys were trying to do, and they had armed them, because there was junior officers, is to come and bomb State House, bomb KBC. But the guys who came, they just did a few passes and went and dropped the bombs in Mount Kenya. So they came back, said, we have done it. Yeah, it was lucky. The whole thing could have changed very, very badly.
It's just that the people who are sent to do the job,
they were being under gunpoint by the junior soldiers, where you're going to fly. And they were sitting in the rear seat of the F5. So in the front seat, you sit tandem.
Yeah.
Is the pilot. In the rear seat is this guy with a gun. So they just did some maneuvers, confused the guy, zoomed through Nairobi, dropped the bombs, came back and landed.
So, are you telling me that? Pardon, I'm trying to understand this. Are you telling me that somebody came and took hostage of?
What happened was they sent cars, Land Rovers, to all the pilots' houses. I lived in the hotel, so I did not live in a military house because I lived with Gina in the hotel.
Yes.
We had a cottage there. But anybody who lived in a military house, which they had rented houses all over for married people, they went around collecting them. And then they did not collect me because I used to drive myself.
Yeah.
Again.
Your story and this word luck.
I should write a book saying, one lucky guy.
So, and who are these people who collect them?
The coup was done by very junior officers. Actually, it was a corporal called Ochuka. He was the lead. So all his team were the same rank. Were corporals, senior privates. So they went to the armory and got guns, got in Land Rovers, and you're coming with us. So they went picking officers, and they went. If you read the story, that was Nanyuki. In Isli, they had gone all over town, shooting in the air. They had sent a team to KBC.
Yes, I remember that.
They had gotten a famous gentleman called Leonard Mambo Botella, who was well known, to come and make an announcement so it sounds genuine. Because if you hear a normal, genuine voice, like if today you hear Jeff Koinange,
exactly.
You say, that must be legit.
And please note, at this time, that is the only station.
Yes. So, although luckily, again, it lasted very, very few hours, because when the army came over and overpowered, the army moved in and now overpowered all the Air Force officers. So a few were killed, put in custody.
So when all of this is happening, you are at...
But when I had the jets zoom, I got up, said I have to go. This is what I've been waiting for. There's action. And very luckily, Gina fought me off. I mean, she said, you're not going.
So I was tough. It was really.
When you say Nyanyuki
really
was very central, because the Air Force.
Yes,
the Air Force.
Yeah, and so I got this call from a friend of mine, a major's wife, major in the Air Force, who said, "Hey, where's Chris?" I said, "He's here," and she said, "Oh, because Dave, who was her husband, has just been picked up. There's a coup," and I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, there's been a coup." And I tell Chris, I'm like, "Chris, this is what's happened." He's, "Oh, good, I need to get my uniform." And I'm like, "To go where?" I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Well, I mean, of course, he wanted to be where the action was." And, him and I had like this big argument, like, "No, you can't go." And thank God he didn't go, because he would have been in jail. But, then there was just sort of my mum and I in a very different environment, because Nanyuki, there was obviously curfew. There was a lot that was going on. A very good friend of ours showed up at the gate the night of the coup, having been shot and beaten up. You couldn't get doctors, so there was my mum and I cleaning this man. There was just a lot. There was a lot going on.
She said, "You're not going." So she blocked the door. We had a tussle.
Yeah.
Eventually, then information started coming from about 8 or 9 that the army have moved in. They are rounding up all the Air Force officers, wherever they find them. So now we laid low.
Okay.
Again, because I was not in military housing, nobody knew where I was. So we just sat there. It was a Sunday, I remember. We sat there the whole day now getting information. Some few dead. Nanyuki is in Nairobi, a lot of dead. Windows broken. This has happened. So when the army moved in, again, the first place they went to was KBC. And now they've got their proper information. Said, we keep calm, everybody go home. We have taken care of the situation. The coup has been suppressed. And if you remember, they sent a team to go pick Moi. Moi was in Kabarak. Brought him under armed guard now to Kabarak, his house here. To now, he came by road to now command things from here. So it was a very messy day, very messy few days after.
In fact, so now I'm wondering now about you, because people must be wondering, where is this guy?
Now, in that evening, another friend of mine who had been in Nyeri, a pilot like me, fighter pilot, he came he somehow maneuvered through all the roadblocks, and he came and joined me. So we sat there wondering, now what do we do?
And what about your other pal who had come with a gun? He was also there with you?
No.
Or he had gone somewhere else?
The pilots who were picked were now at the Air Force base.
No, but remember the guy who you said had a gun, when both of you came and tried to return your guns? So
no, he was at the base. Yeah, he was at the base. I
Okay.
was in town.
Okay.
He was in Nanyuki Air Force Base then.
So he was one people
He
who
was rounded up.
Okay, so your friend now comes and
Yeah, now he joins me. Now we are wondering what to do. Try to get as much information as we can. So we decided we'll just sleep and report tomorrow. So in the morning, that was Monday morning, we got on the phone and we called the base and said, we are here, what do you want us to do? So they told us, stay there, we are sending a car.
Oh.
So they sent a Land Rover. So me and my friend got on board, and then this gentleman got on the radio and said, 2 others have surrendered. So I tapped him and said, what are you talking about? He just ignored me. Afande, 2 more surrendered.
Yeah.